Hi everyone, it is Natalie from Being Intentionally Creative. Today we are going to do some painting. We're going to have some fun. I have readjusted my camcorder, so hopefully it's up high enough and you don't miss what I'm doing down here on my table. I am still working on getting used to and figuring out the best way to do my videos. If anyone has any comments or suggestions, please leave them for me because I am open to suggestions at this point in time. I am getting better at it, but I'm still not where I want to be. Okay, what are we going to paint today? You will see I have this beautiful looking flower here. And I either made it with mixed mold or I made it with Resin. And I managed to get some beautiful coloring in it. And that was by adding some colorants to it. And once it was completely cured, what I did was I took some resin that had a bit of glitter in it and I just coated it with a paintbrush to get this look. And I love how it looks. I love the fact that it's making this shine so nicely. I love how the pink and the blue are playing together, not too harsh one way or the other. Subtle and pretty. And I'm thinking of making this into a magnet. It's not very heavy. You'll see it's not overly thick. And I just think it would be pretty as a magnet. It could be set on a table. You could put a stick on it and put it in a floral arrangement. And that's about all the ideas I have of this for right now. But just to give you some ideas of what you potentially could do with this. If I were to put a magnet on the back of this, I would make sure, again, it was a fair sized one, just to make sure that one doesn't slide down whatever you've put it onto, because you wouldn't want this falling on the ground and breaking. For me, it's too pretty to have anything happen to that. I have this one here. I made this a while ago. And one of the things I had done with one of my other pieces, in painting it, I thought that's cool, but I want it to have a bit of a sheen to it. I don't want it just to be painted and basic. I want to add something to it. The colors I'm going to use today, they're by Craftsmart. One's blush pink and the other is periwinkle. I'm not trying to duplicate what I've already done. What I'm attempting to do is just make something pretty, and I thought, well, okay, maybe I am trying to duplicate it. I like the colors, so I thought this would be a nice combination. The other reason I picked these two colors is I am going to be using, and I'm hoping there's not a glare on this, Dylusions Diamond Dust by Ranger and this one is London Blue. And I'm also going to be using the lilac, laidback lilac. I had in the wrong order. So these are the two colors I'm going to use in conjunction with the periwinkle and the blush. So we're going to paint first, and then we're going to mix up a little bit of water with these and just sporadically put it around. So you'll have that. It's not going to, well, I don't know if it's going to be matte when I'm all said and done with this. But the idea is that you will get a bit of a glimmer on the piece, but not necessarily all over, unless I decide otherwise later on down the road. Do you ever do that? When you're making something, you go, no, this is all I'm going to do. I'm not going to touch it anymore. I'm not going to add any more to it. And then, 2 seconds later, you're adding more to it. The center of this has been done with UV resin. And I like how that looks right. This looks beautiful all on its own. Technically, you wouldn't have to do anything else but seal this up with, well, if I were to use the mixed mold, the matte or the glossy, and that, that would be good enough. You wouldn't have to do anything else. Again, this isn't very thick, and you could add a magnet to the back. I guess if you wanted, you could sort of have it as a paperweight on your desk. It would make a beautiful gift for somebody. Thinking, it's just jumping in my head right now, is could you make this into a pendant or a pin for a coat? Again, it's a little heavy. However, if you had a big enough pin on the back of this and you were to put it onto a heavier type of coat, I'm thinking wool. Wool coat's coming to my mind first off. it would be, you know, easy to, you could have it as a bin. So again, think outside the box, and I take time and I look at things, and I will stare at things for, you know, 10, 15 minutes just to see what ideas come to me. So that's what I've got so far for ideas for this. I've already mixed up my paint. I have 2 paint brushes here, and I have a cup of water that I'm going to be able to put my brushes into so I don't have to try and stop this and start it again. I have the Dylusions brush, one of them, that I'm going to use for these because I don't want to get heavy-handed, but the other brush they have is a lot finer. It's more of a brush similar to this one, and I thought, no, I want to use this for my coloring of these 2 products. Okay, I am going to start with the blue. Now this may take 2 coats. I'm not 100% sure on that. It may take 2 coats, and as I say, I'm not going to, I'm going to get one of my dishes here and put the paint on. So let's just throw those off to the side. And I started it when I started doing my paint pours, which was the first creative thing I did. I started with Craftsmart, and you know what? Some people think that it's an inexpensive brand and can't be used for the really fine art. I like the product. I have no problem using Craftsmart. Yes, it's inexpensive, but I find if you do it right, you get a good job from it. So let's just, and I'm just going to sort of randomly place this paint around the leaves, and hopefully, like I say, and be careful when you get paint on your thumb like that. Always wipe your hands off. I've gotten caught doing that. Always wipe your hands off. So we'll just sort of randomly put some of this blue on. And the Craftsmart, what I like about it, it dries really quickly. And if you're wanting to do something, I'll say on the fly, this actually is a good paint for that. And you're going to be sealing it up. This is a multi-surface, so you can use this if you wanted to put it outside. You could use, well, again, I'm thinking, but it might be too heavy. I was thinking, oh, and I've just lost what it is. Chime. Whether or not you could use this with like a wind chime. It might be a little too delicate for that, but there's another idea for you. Okay. And I'll worry about the underside later. Really, I just want to sort of give you the idea. And I've been wanting to finish this one for a while. And I thought, well, this will make a great video. We're doing something just slightly different. Why not have some fun? Paint it up and see how it looks at the end of the day. And what I also like about that Dylusions product is it's going to give it a bit of a, well, it'll give it a bit of a shimmer. So if you didn't want to put glitter on your piece, then you could just use that if you have it, or anything. I'm wondering if you had mica powders, you could put that on as well, just to give it that little bit of extra glitter. Okay, so let's get this like this. And there, like I said, there's no rhyme or reason to what I'm doing here. I'm just throwing paint at this. So I think that's enough blue for now. You can always add. Remember, you can always add, you just can't take away from. That's a really important thing to note. You can always add, you can't take away. I think this blush is going to be a really pretty color too. It's soft, it's subtle, it's not, you know, if you love bold colors, like we could have done this like with some orange and red. Right? And we'll just sort of blend a little bit. Let's see what we get when we mix some of the pink in with the blue, right? So if you might be able to see as I'm doing this pink, or I should call it blush, give it its proper name, right? It's sort of blending in, and giving the blue a lighter tone, but I'm also pulling it across the pink. Now, if you didn't want to do that, and I don't mind that I am, you would want to let the one color dry and then come in with the other. So you didn't get that sort of blending. And that's what happened with this one here, is because I used the two colors, they blended together, and that's okay. I kind of want the natural look, if you will. More nature. More nature. Now I could also, if I wanted to, I could take my paintbrush and dip it in the water and rinse it out. But I'm liking. So there we are so far. Hopefully you're able to see everything. One of the last videos I did, when I was watching it in the rerun, I'm going, your hands are getting in the way, or you're getting pots and whatnot in the way, and yeah, you start doing your video and you don't realize what's getting in the way until you rewatch it, and then it's, do I redo it, or do I simply let the crowd know I'm learning? Not there yet. When I have it all figured out. I know some people, I mean, it looks like they've got the camera set like right overhead and looking down, and I'm not sure how to do that right now with what I've got. So I just carry on, and the idea is so that you get some ideas for yourself, and I will get better as time goes on. So I'm just going to randomly throw some of this pink in amongst the blue. Now the periwinkle is starting to dry now. So what I might do is get the brush out and just gently put a little bit of the blue in where the pink is. I don't think I want to do the back because I'm going to get my hands all messy if I do that. Yeah, so we'll just do a little bit more of the pink in with the blue. And I'm going to stay away from the center because I really don't want to get too much, or any, I should say, any of that pink on my yellow flower. So we'll let that be like that. So far, I think that's looking pretty cool. I like how the two have blended. Now maybe what I'll do is, I'm just going to stick that in there. Okay, so we got a lot of blue, a lot of, I think there's one spot I want to put some more pink, but let's see if we can't just really carefully add some of the blue around where the pink is without overtaking it, right? If you want to sort of overtake it, then fair. I'm trying to not lose too much of the original color. So I think that's looking pretty cool right now, just as it is. Oh, I feel like my hands are just totally in the way. So that's what we've got so far. I'll just sort of turn it in case you're getting any glare from that. But yeah, I think that's looking pretty cool. And we could just take a little bit in the back and just dap it. So it's got that. And like I say, I'll do the back later. Off camera. I'm just gonna mix this a little bit because I got a couple extra little spots that need some touching up. You'd almost think I'd painted it once already. So I'm just going to take a little bit of this pink and dab it on there. So there we have. I think that looks pretty cool. Right? But again, you could use whatever colors you wanted. So that's what we have so far. I'm not liking, so I just saw one spot where I'm not fussy. Right in here, it just doesn't look blended enough. So I just kind of want to, there, it's almost like when I was going over it I was just sort of putting the color down and not blending it into it. But I think that looks pretty cool, just as it is. So this is where we put down the brush. We set that aside. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to let that dry for about 10 or 15 minutes. And then we will come back and we will finish up with using the Dylusions. And let's see how we can finish decorating that up. Be right back. Hello again. Now we're back. This has dried, I think, enough for us to go ahead and put the next decoration on our flower. As I mentioned, I'm going to be using the Diamond Dust, Laidback Lilac, and the London Blue. I'm not sure if the London Blue is going to be too much for this piece, but they don't, right now, this is the only blue I have to use this. I have this sponge out, and it was something that came to me after I had logged off, that if you didn't want to use paint brushes to color, you know, the piece you're doing, you could always grab a makeup sponge and use it, like put your paint on here and then dab where you want to go. That's another option. I might do it on some of my bigger pieces. I think for this size of what I'm doing, I like the idea of using a paintbrush because I can get into the crevices. With this, you may not be able to. However, if you wanted just to lightly add some touches to the tips of the flower petals, then this might be an option for you. So I'm just mentioning that in case you're wondering, is there something else you could use or to give different definition to the piece? And what you might be able to do too is put a couple of colors on here, not blending them as such, but if you put the two colors on and then just dabbed around, again, it would do a bit of a mixing for you. Okay, let's open this up. We'll start with the Laidback Lilac first. And it's a soft color. There's these little scoops. Let's see if you can see it down there. This little scoop here. And I'm just going to take a little bit of this and put it onto my tray. I don't think I need much. Okay. As I say, start with the little, not from there. Okay. I think I'm just going to get my little spoon here and pull out some water. It's not clean water. You know what? I should be using clean water, shouldn't I? So I'll just grab from here. I'm just going to drop it on here. A little bit. It doesn't want to come off my spoon. That's funny. Okay, put those down there. And then I'm just going to use a toothpick. And I'm just going to blend this on here. I know you're not going to need a lot for this piece. And it's got a little bit of some lumps in it, so I'm just trying to get those out of there. It's like anything, right? It's like mixing mica powder into resin. You want to get rid of as many of those clumps as you possibly can so they don't show up on your piece. There we go. Now we're just going to take this black brush by Dylusions, and I'm just going to dab it in here, picking some of that up on the brush, and then I'm just going to randomly, well, not randomly, I guess, I'm going to put it where sort of the pink is. And I don't know if you can see it, but it's sort of pooling there, so I'm just going to brush it because I don't really want this stuff to pool. I'll just make it around, and I guess, you know, if it doesn't, if it pools a little bit, it adds dimension, doesn't it? Again, it's another dimension building part to this. So I'll just go over this and just adding it in as to where the pink is. Okay, and it's interesting because because of the acrylic paint, it's actually, I don't want to say bubbling, but that kind of gives you an idea, or beading. There's a better word. It's beading on here. So I just finish up, and I'll maybe put a little bit on the tips of the blue. Okay, so we've got that on there. And I think, yeah, it's gonna add nice dimension. Again, you know, there's sometimes I just wish people could see things close up. I have yet to find anything that really allows you to get the proper definition of what you want. When you can see it right in front of you, it's brilliant. And you go, oh, I wish I could just get you to see that. But you're not in my room with me. And if you're doing this type of work yourself, you'll know what I'm talking about. Some things just will always look better in person. So we'll take some of the blue now. Hopefully I never know when I'm in camera. Just put that down. Now you'll notice, I mean, that's a very dark, that's a very dark blue. And again, we'll take some clean water. I can't believe I was actually thinking of using some dirty water. That would have been just not good. Yeah, should be enough to mix that up too. So again, using my little stick here, my toothpick, my little stick. Technically it is, isn't it? Technically it is a little stick. And like you can see, that's a very vibrant blue. Okay, I think that's pretty good. Apologies for the coughing. All right, so let's just see. Put that on just a little bit. And just I may have a little bit too much of the blue. This is fun. This feels so relaxing to be doing this. I don't talk. I just add my color. Oh, this is relaxing. I don't know if you do any coloring, but coloring can be a very relaxing activity. You know, when you get through to the end of your day, and if it's been busy, hustle and bustle, just to sit in silence. I have moments where I just love sitting in silence. And there are other days when I can't get enough noise around me. I like my space, I like my quiet, but there are moments when it's like, okay, we're too quiet now. Somebody, somewhere make some noise. Okay. Now, interesting with this blue, and it's, I think both colors, both of the blue and this lilac, I mean, the texture they're giving, and maybe I'll turn this a little bit. Can you see with the, up here with the blue? I mean, it may be because it's being put on acrylic paint. That could be part of it. I'm not sure. And it's bubbling, but it's giving it a neat effect. So not only you're getting that shine, it's almost as if, you know, sort of blue water droplets are on it, or the pink in here. But that's all I'm going to do to this. I will, as I say, I'll do the back side, probably with a mix of the colors. But I think that's very pretty in how that's turned out. I'll move that out of the way, and maybe you can see it better. And I'll bring it up to the camera like that. Okay. And I'll just move it about a little bit. And that's so simple. That took me, what, 20 minutes to do that? It's got some nice definition to it. They're pretty colors mixed together. And it's sort of, even if I put resin on this or I put the gloss coat on it, you're still going to be able to get that shimmer through there. And it's subtle. It's not in your face, which I didn't want it to be. You most definitely could. If you were doing this all one color, let's say the blue, for example, you could go nuts with the diamond dust. But because I had two colors and the pink, the blush, being more subtle, I didn't want to overpower it too much. But I think that looks really pretty. I like how it's turned out. And now it's just a matter of painting the back and deciding what I want to do with it. Do I want to make it into a magnet? Do I make it into a pin for a coat? I imagine this being on a black coat or something just really dark and having this as a pop of color on it. A magnet for sure, you could do that. You could just have it as a weight on a table. I mean, it's not, it would hold down a piece of paper. That would be an option for it. If you made a bunch of these, again, you could make a bouquet, and they wouldn't, well, I shouldn't say that. If you put a short enough stick on the back of this, you could manipulate and make this into a bouquet if you made enough of them. So that's another option. Anyway, I challenge you to come up with your own ideas. I think this is very cool. I like that I've taken the time to do it, and I've been sitting on this one for a while, and now it's done. There you have it. Something simple to do with some of your, Resin or your mix to mold pieces that you make. It's with the diamond dust, whether it's with mica powder, whether it's just with a paint that's got sparkle in it. I've got some of that here as well. The possibilities are endless. I like to say that because everyone's going to come up with their own twist on any ideas I come up with, and that's brilliant. I am very grateful for you watching me today. Like and subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Take care. Bye for now.